This is a demo for the search and rescue mission scenario for the Aptima DDD 4.1. Here we're looking at the DDD client, which is the user interface for the actual scenarios. And the first window that pops up is the choose a decision maker. And here you'll see that there's green, blue, purple, and red. Those are the four decision makers that the users actually playing the scenario can be. And then at the bottom we have the scenario control, which will allow us to view all the scenario elements. So we'll go ahead and click OK. And then we have a player briefing that pops up. Here it says control scenario elements. For the actual users, when they're the red or green, blue, or purple, it'll have a more descriptive mission for them to accomplish, and that can range from finding a lost party, an antenna, UAV, satellite, or gondola. And that all depends on which mission is being played. So we'll go ahead and click close. Some background information of this scenario is that it is located in Antarctica, and the main part of the mission is to locate a lost party. The lost party originated here at Station Blue, and the users need to track the path that the lost party took and then ultimately locate and help them. While they do this, there are several different medical tasks, repair tasks, and emergency tasks in which they need to accomplish in order to accumulate as many points as possible. So before we go into the actual functionality of this scenario, we'll go ahead and show the different functions of the DDD client. The most important is the view up here, where you can click custom attributes. A window will pop up, and this will show all the different messages that need to be seen in order to accomplish the scenario. Different messages will include requirements to accomplish a given task, different clues, and different messages from the seismic monitors, which will point the team members in the right path, in the right direction, so that they can find the lost party. So if we click Station Blue here, we can see that there's a unit name, a unit class. We have a status, which is just the state of the current object that is highlighted. We have the location, the altitude. In these scenarios, there is no altitude. Everything is on the ground. There's nothing flying, so it's all 0. And then we have a max speed. Here you see that it's 0 kilometers per hour. If you actually click something that's mobile, like a snowcat here, you can see that it's 100 kilometers per hour. I actually sped this up for the demo, so it's quite a bit slower in the actual scenario when the users are playing it. And then we have down here different tabs. We have movement, capabilities, and subplatforms. I'll go into this into more detail in a little bit. And then a really important part up here is the zoom. This way you can zoom in and actually see the elements, and this allows you to process things quite a bit more easily. Now, before we look at the different elements of the scenario, I'd like to just say that there are different versions of the scenario. There are different difficulty levels. There are a low and high difficulty. The higher difficulty has more difficult terrain, which will make the snowcats slower, and that will also cause the snowcats to use more fuel. And once the snowcats run out of fuel, they're dead, and they can no longer play the mission or play the scenario. And also there are competitive and non-competitive scenarios. The non-competitive is where they will work together and they will accumulate a whole team score, where in the competitive scenarios they will actually work against each other to accumulate as many points as possible for each individual player, but in the end they have to work together to accomplish some of the tasks, like to process or to help the lost party. And so now we'll look at the different elements of the scenario. First element is a clue. Right here we'll see that it is a fuel slick. There's another clue up here that says it's a piece of metal. There's different clues throughout the scenario. The higher difficulty ones has less clues, and there are more misleading clues as well. And then there are also repair tasks. We'll see here that a broken thrust bearing on drilling machine, and that will take one mechanical unit. And then we'll have medical tasks here, which take medical units. And the most important is the seismic monitors here. There are three different types. Type 1 takes 1 scout, Type 2 takes 3 mechanical units, and there's Type 3 where it takes 3 scout and 3 tech. And these are the most important part because once you process these, you will get points, but they also give a very important clue as to the direction of the party. If you have processed a seismic monitor that is near or on the path of the lost party, you will get more points, and chances are that you will get a more helpful clue. And in the higher difficulty scenarios, there are more misleading clues once these seismic monitors have been processed. Also, there are different stations throughout the scenario that the blue leader is responsible for. The first and most important is Station Blue here, and you'll see that there are many different sub-platforms here. The blue leader is responsible for ensuring that there are enough resources to accomplish all the different tasks in this scenario. So he can take a mechanic and he can actually transfer that unit to one of the snowcats out in the playing field here. Also, he's responsible for the different fuel depots that can be found throughout the scenario. Within these fuel depots, there's a fuel cat which is able to leave the fuel depot and fuel up one of the snowcats here. So wherever they are, they should be pretty close to one of these fuel depots. The fuel cats do have a finite amount of fuel, so they can actually run out of fuel themselves. So the blue leader is actually responsible for quite a bit. If they mismanage the resources and the fuel fuel cats, then that can really affect the outcome of the scenario. Now I have logged in as the green leader, and you can see that the scenario elements are no longer visible, but they will become visible as the snowcat moves throughout the terrain. And we'll go ahead and move the green cat. Again, I sped this up so that to save time. In the actual scenario, it's quite a bit slower. So we come across a repair task here, and if we open up the custom attributes window, and we'll move that down here. If you left click on the repair task, it'll tell you that you need one mechanic. So we can left click on the green cat, click sub-platforms, and find mechanic, and then right click where you want the mechanic to go. And then the mechanic is deployed. And if we go to capabilities on the left here, you'll see that he has 9 mechanical abilities available. So we can left click there and ensure that the repair task is within the red circle here so that it can be processed. And then we'll apply the mechanical ability by right clicking one time, since it only needs the one mechanic ability. If it needs more, then you need to right click more times. And you'll see that there's a countdown here which will allow for multiple clicks if you do need more than just one type of ability. And you'll see that the mission team score up here was updated, and they got 50 points for that. And we can go ahead and left click on the green mechanic, click sub-platform, dock this object, and right click the green cat to put the green mechanic back on. And we see that there's a clue here, and we can click on that, and we see fuel slick. And we'll try to see if we can find a seismic monitor, and one pops up here, and it says the requirements for this are to analyze, and that needs 3 scout and 3 technical units. So we'll go ahead and deploy those by going back here to the subplatforms, and we have the scout, and we'll move him here, and the tech, and we'll move him right here. And each one of these has its own ability, and so you have to do one type of ability at a time. So we're going to go ahead and do the green scout first, and we'll click capabilities, and there's 18 available, and we need 3 of them. So we right click 3 times on the seismic monitor, 1, 2, 3. And you'll see down here that it tells you that the different abilities have been engaged. And as it's processing, you can left click and see that it updates that the scout is complete, and you can continue analysis, and that takes 3 tech. So we will go to the tech ability and right click 3 times, 1, 2, 3. And as this counts down, we can left click again and see that once it is accomplished, that a new message appears. This turns green, saying that it has been completed, and it gives you the clue that a vehicle passed 25 hours ago. And this, again, may or may not be a helpful clue. It could be misleading. This is a higher difficulty scenario that I'm showing here, so it probably is a misleading clue. And we can go ahead and put these back on by clicking dock this object and right clicking. And they're back on. And next, to ensure that the lost party and antenna can't just be accidentally stumbled upon, we tried to make it so that try to keep them on the path of the lost party. And you'll see here that we're in the location of the lost party, but you can't see it. So hopefully they've gone through the entire path and they've stumbled upon seismic monitor J here, which says that it needs to be repaired, and that takes 3 mechanical units. So we'll go ahead and deploy the green mechanic, and we can left click on him and apply the 3 mechanical ability with 3 right clicks, and that'll count down. And we can left click back on the seismic monitor, and once it's green, we can see the vehicle passed 6 hours ago heading west, and that's waypoint 4B. And all of a sudden the lost cat has appeared, and we can put the mechanic back on, move over there, and we'll see that the requirements are 3 mechanical units, 10 medic, and 3 tech. And if we deploy the medic, we can see that the original amount, that the amount of ability that they have is just 6. So this will require the team members to work together to accomplish this task, because there are 10. And in order to do that, within that 10-second countdown, they will have to deploy all 10 medic units at the exact same time, or within that 10 seconds. And that's how we can ensure that the team members are working together even in the competitive scenarios, and we can ensure that they are loosely following the path that the lost party took.